Yep. Okay. Go!
Will you hand me my screen box?
Now go. Preach.
Case number 2405766LT, Pointer Woods Apartments versus Janaya Daniels, and that's Jainaijs.
Afternoon, Judge calling Geisler P69024 on behalf of the plaintiff.
Okay, nice. Good afternoon.
That's me, Janasia
And what's your last name?
Daniels.
Okay, Ms. Daniels, let's see. This is the date scheduled for your motion to stay proceedings. You wrote in on October 16th. You were asking for more time to pay your past due balance. Knew there was no excuse when it comes to responsibility, but your health played a major role in it. Getting back on track, willing to put your best foot forward and get on a payment plan if possible.
Yes, ma'am.
You just started being able to work again last week.
Yes.
Thank you in advance for allowing me more time. You don't want to leave. I just need more time and I will have everything paid up. And so I'm looking, writ of eviction came in September. Says the judgment was from October 14th. At that time, you had paid $1,800 on the judgment. It was a default judgment, meaning that you didn't appear in court at the time. And so it was a possession judgment entered for $5,564.60. So if you paid $1,800 way back then on that, and this is just up to that point, that would have left on the original judgment $3,764.60. And that, since that was dated August the 14th, now we've got September and October and November. Had you made any more payments other than the $1,800?
No, ma'am. They wouldn't allow me to make any more payments.
Okay, how much do you show that she's currently due now, adding on? I would have, as to the judgment amount, if you apply that $1,800, it'd be $3,764.60.
Wait, my balance is showing $8,726.02. When was the $1,800 payment paid?
I don't know, that's what you all said on the writ, so I don't know.
Oh,
what you paid.
okay. I calculated. Yeah, no, I'm showing, that's correct, that was paid. It looks like it was paid on August 9th.
Okay. So if she owed $3,764.60, how much would it break, if you can break it down, how much is it per month for August, September? For September, October, and November?
It's the monthly rent is $1,440. There's looks like about a $14 gas charge, $5 trash charge, $3.50 service fee, and then it looks like about water and about $26 a month, and then sewage and about $37 a month. I have a ledger, Judge, if you'd like to look at it.
All right. Just said, let's see what cost that might be per month. That's not including a late fee.
Yeah, there's a couple $100 late fees in there.
They got the late fees added. Their total was $8,726.02, and that's probably, let me see if it includes the $1,800 she paid.
Yeah, it's in there, it's subtracted out. On August 9th, if you look at the date.
Okay, well, that's a whole lot of money, Miss Daniel, $8,726.02. How you gonna pay that?
I have half of that now already.
Okay. So what's half of that?
About 4,000.
Okay, so that would leave you another $4,726.02. What's your proposal to get that paid?
I was hoping that I could get on a payment plan to pay that,
What kind of a payment plan?
like monthly or bi-weekly.
Ma'am, I can't read your mind. I don't know how much you're talking about, and I don't know when. And this is your proposal, so you got to tell us more information.
Well, what will the court allow?
Okay, you want a payment plan. You have to propose the payments and the plan. We can't do that for you. How much are you gonna pay to catch up, and when are you gonna get it paid?
About $250 a month.
That's not nearly enough for them to want to do this, as he's shaking his head here. So, you're talking about paying your regular rent on time and carrying a $4,000 balance for which you're going to only pay $250 a month. So if you were to do that, that would mean it would take you 18 months, almost 2 years to catch that up. And that's probably not that reasonable.
Well, that's just give or take.
It's just like a ballpark.
Like a ballpark. I can probably pay more.
That's just me not wanting to obligate myself.
Well, if you could pay more, why wouldn't you suggest that to us? Because this balance is so high. Most landlords are willing to work into a payment arrangement, but it's got to get it paid way sooner than 2 years later.
I don't want to put myself in a situation when I'm in my health is
I don't want to put myself into that obligation.
Well,
I know my
you might
health
want to
is
just consider finding a spot that you can start over and afford, because
this balance on top of that.
right. But then I will owe this balance still in addition to the new rent.
Well, you're gonna owe this balance still in addition to new rent.
But
here, it does. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's the same problem whether you move out or whether you stay here. The difference being, if
I
you
would
move
rather
out,
stay here.
I cannot afford.
Okay, ma'am, I would rather you stay there too. But you signed a contract that said how much money you were able to pay for rent. And I understand things happen, and you're really behind. It's not like you're behind 1 month, you're behind 3 months.
I'm sick.
I know, I'm aware of that, but I'm sick. I have renal disease.
Okay. Well,
So
listen, I get that.
I
I can't make this arrangement. The landlord's gonna have to agree to it. I'm just trying to get the information. And I don't know of any landlords that say, okay, you can just stay here because you're sick. And even though I appreciate the fact that you're ill, things happen, you got sick, you couldn't go to work. I get all that, but it's not up to me. And it's up to the landlord to make the decision to bend the terms of your contract and let you catch up on it. And they were shaking their head here. $250 a month was just not enough.
Okay.
If you could propose something like maybe $1,000 a month, they might go with that.
Okay.
On top of your
Okay. With that being said, can I have someone advocate for me?
If they're a lawyer, yes.
Okay.
Nobody else can speak for you.
Okay. So
But you're present. So what is this?
so my thing is with the landlord is, it's not like I haven't been trying to pay them. I've been trying to give them payments, but they won't accept any because they were saying that they can only accept the full balance. So that's it. The only reason why the balance is even so high.
I get that part. But we're here now to talk about that. In my courtroom, in court, we can accept whatever I tell them to accept that we agree upon. Now that's their policy out there on the complex. They want all of it, and I get it. But we're here to talk about what you can afford, and maybe we could give you a payment arrangement that's acceptable to council. But $250 wasn't it. And Mr. Dyson, you wanted to say something?
Well, Judge, this is her motion. I'm gonna assume to set aside the original default. And she hasn't given any,
She's not trying to set it aside. She wants a payment arrangement on it.
understood, but we have a judgment, a properly executed judgment. She hasn't paid, the amount is now almost $3,000 more than the original judgment. We would like to dismiss her motion to have the writ executed upon.
So what are you saying is, you don't want a payment arrangement with it?
No, no, not at this point. Just look at the amount where we are. It's going up and up. And the proposal originally was $250. It's just not gonna work, Judge.
Are you able to propose more than $250?
Tell them. What you could tell them is that's why you're in a meeting. You're asking them what they suggest so you can catch up. If they give you an amount, you'll have it. You don't want to give yourself you don't want to put yourself under the obligation knowing your health risk. You don't want to say, okay, well, I'll give you this amount and then you cannot produce it. So you tell me what it is that I need to do.
Okay. So moving forward, can you tell me what I need to do?
Yeah, paid 8,000, the amount that's on the ledger. I mean, I don't know.
I put money into escrow so we can come up.
Okay, is that including the money that I put in escrow already?
No, the money you put in escrow, let's see. Can you look it up there? 'Cause I don't see it.
$1,440 in escrow.
There's another $1,440 in escrow. So she says she has 4,000 now. Plus she would have the escrow of $1,440. So that totals $5,440. And her balance is $8,726.02. And if we subtract the 5,440 from that, we get, now she would owe $3,286.02. Ma'am?
Ask them to repeat that. Ask them to repeat it.
You would still owe, with your money that you said you have of 4,000 plus the escrow of 1,440, that totals $5,440. And if we subtract that from the balance due of $8,026.02, your balance right now would be $3,286.02.
Okay.
Tell them, ask them if you can get on 400. You do 405.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, I'm doing the math. Could we do like $400 a month?
Well, if you did that, it would take you 8 months to catch up, and you'd still have to be paying your regular rent.
That's fine.
And I don't think they want to go that far out. You're gonna have to come up with something that takes care of it within a couple of 2 to 3 months, I would say.
Supposed to do
2 or 3 months.
Tell them you put that money in escrow, have your half. They need to work with you. You're sick.
Well, I can't force anybody to work with her. The landlord doesn't want to work with her at all. I'm trying to see if we can come up with something that they could live with.
$400 on top of the payment is already that's not taking 3 years, 2 years. It's not taking that much to pay back, and that's give or take. So that means she could still pay more. She just don't want to give that legal obligation to herself because she knows that she's sick.
Well, if she doesn't want to, she's gonna get. This is not good enough.
She's still paying.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you all understand exactly what we're doing here.
If she has if you owe $8,000, right? With not even the tools and fuels, you owe $8,000 and you already have $5,000, 5,000 plus, right? So that's only 3,000. So if you split that up in a 6-month payment, you'll only be paying almost 500. Almost 500. All you're doing is taking a couple dollars off. If you pay a couple dollars more, then I don't understand how that's so hard. And then you're still paying your rent. I could see if it's under, contentious, you can't pay this or da 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 da. Okay, eviction, you got to go immediately. But if you're paying your money and on top of the rent and then what you owe, I don't understand. They're still getting their money.
What you probably aren't getting is that she has a written contract that says she's supposed to pay a certain amount per month, and because she's in breach of the contract, so they're not obliged to take.
What was the money in escrow for?
What you want? They can tell you that they might take something. I would.
But if you can't,
excuse me, ma'am, you don't even have the right to talk in this case. I'm just talking to you. So why don't you propose, Ms. Daniels, something more than $400 a month, maybe $400 every 2 weeks? That would be $800 a month. Maybe they would take that.
Okay.
If you can do it. Don't propose something you can't do because you're going to get evicted anyway.
That's why.
Right. That's why we
it's better than monthly.
Right. But that's why we trying to figure out what to do in this case.
I'm open to suggestions.
I just suggested try paying something bi-weekly. Maybe that would work. Because if you pay $400 bi-weekly, that would be $800.
That's really
right. So if you divided $800 into your figure, it'd only take 4 months to pay.
Okay, so should I go and speak with the leasing office?
How can you withdraw your money from escrow?
Well, you can always speak with your leasing office.
Right.
Right now, the lawyer only has whatever authority he has. The leasing office can do anything they want. The problem is they seem to have told him, at least as of right now, that they don't want to do anything.
Okay, so can I withdraw the money from escrow?
What do you mean, can you withdraw it?
Y'all not working with me.
Do I get the money back if I can't get anybody?
No, the money was in order to secure. They have a judgment of possession, and the law says you're stopping them from getting possession. They're entitled to the escrow because you owe back rent. So this is going to go to them regardless. It's going to cut down the amount you would ultimately owe.
Okay.
But what about the payment arrangement that's promised with the escrow payment?
I have one problem.
That is what it's for. She's
right. So,
money.
Okay. So, from my understanding, the way that this is supposed to work is the judge is supposed to create the payment plan, and then it's supposed to be presented to.
No. That's not how it works. I don't create payment plans.
Let her.
You have to agree with. You create it, and you propose it to the landlord. They either agree or disagree. I'm a neutral person in the center, just trying to help both sides come up with something that you could live with. And right now you have not proposed anything they seem to be able to live with. That's the problem. I don't create payment plans. It's not my contract. You have a contract with your landlord, not me. And I can't change the terms of the agreement. Only the landlord can.
I have health insurance.
Okay, I can't afford $800 extra a month.
Okay, well then, ma'am, we're gonna have to go ahead and deny your motion to stay.
Pause.
That's the only thing we can do.
No, you're gonna figure it out. Let it out.
Okay.
No, scan it in.
Oh, okay. I'll do that. Thank you, Judge.
And do you have a writ pending? On what date was that writ?
I think it's in the system. I'm not sure the timing of it.
That's not what you want to do. You're not about to do that.
That's not what I want to do.
Well, ma'am, the law is not on your side on this one.
Because you're not listening.
I'm so sorry that it's not. The order of eviction was presented on September 17th.
Speak up. You're not about to just lose your money.
We still have time then on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So the
Judge.
written, just put on there, written,
it's going toward what you're doing. Did you just hear them add that money in?
I signed it on October 3rd. So writ dated October 3rd
so
may be executed.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good week.
All right, thank you.
So,
all right, that'll conclude this matter.
So you just let this dumbass bitch just do that? It's not.
Can you state your names?
I'm Adam Dennis.
I'm Zena Lara.
Okay.
No, it's Zena Lara Berry.
Pardon?
It's Zena Lara hyphen.
Got it. Okay. All right. So where are we on this?
It's a termination case. The original lease ended in March. The defendants asked my client for an extension. My client reluctantly agreed, and they entered into a defined term extension, which ended at the end of September. The defendants haven't moved. They have some pretty compelling circumstances that cause one to have sympathy for their situation, but the lease ended and my client would like possession.
All right, folks, what do you have to say?
In April, they wanted the end lease, not for payment, just because they just wanted to retain it. I had a surgery in June that had to be done. Surgery didn't go that well. So I ended up talking to the doctors a little bit more, and they set me a surgery date for November 22nd, just in the next 2 weeks. Possession was supposed to be given back on October 31st, but due to my condition that I'm going through currently, the doctor had wrote a note out to the apartment complex and also one to the Fair House Commission, and gave us one as well about physical disabilities and me being able to me needing to be able to stay for another couple months after my surgery is given, because as of this moment, it's very hard for me to actually move anything out of the apartment right now because of what I'm going through. And I don't want to cause or rupture my stomach and end up getting another hernia from it, which would be worse for my surgery.
I realize the lease ended. Have they paid any rent?
We haven't accepted, my client
Right.
has not accepted rent since the termination. So they were at a zero balance. And Your Honor, I'll just point out that the second notice to quit, which was just towards the agreement of the parties that it would end on the 30th, was sent in July. So as I said, they present facts which engender sympathy, but there's no legal basis for them to remain in the unit without my client's consent.
When is, you say your surgery is when?
November 22nd.
And that notification, Mr. Fink, was that notification given to the landlord for the doctor that he spoke about?
Recently,
There's been a few times, and I have an email.
I have a letter dated November 4th from the hospital.
Okay, and does it say that he needs to stay for 2 months?
Or it says, well, it appears to have been crafted with some legal advice, because it says to enhance his ability to live independently and have full enjoyment of his dwelling. It sounds like a Fair Housing Act line. He needs his lease to be extended through his recovery from surgery I'm paraphrasing, for a period of 10 weeks from surgery. So that would be sometime in February, Your Honor, in December, January, 8, 9, and the last week in February. So that would be somewhere in the early part of February for a lease that was supposed to end in March of this year.
All right. Ma'am, what did you want to say?
Your Honor, in October 4th, I have a copy that I sent the rent out to Robert Cookerson, who is the manager for Sparrowwood Apartments. And he kept the check until the 17th of the month. When he came, there was a roach inspection in my dwelling. And I have, but anyway, so when he came on the 17th for inspection of roaches in the dwelling, that's when he handed me the check, saying I can't take it, but he kept it for 17 days, Your Honor, and I have a copy from the bank also. And then on the 16th, the day before, he had wrote a hearing to see you last week on the 1st. And he saw you on a video visit from my house, from our last week on the November 1st. And we had sent them a couple letters, and I also asked Robert Gufferson several times that please give me the email of Jillian, who was representing from Mr. Fink's office or practice of Jillian. So please, can I have Jillian's email so that I can give her all the information and pertinent information that we have continually talked to Robert. And for some reason, I did not get the email. Robert had told me that he didn't have it. Then I said, oh, then I thought about it. Then I emailed it to him. I said, okay, I'm going to forward you this letter so you can forward it to Jillian. It'll be easier. So that way she has it. And it's in my email, Your Honor. And yesterday I called about 2 times at 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock to get the email so I can submit all the information we have. Prior to that, I had also talked, but they were not willing to give me the email for Mr. Fink's office. I wanted to go there yesterday in person. Then I said, no, I can't do that because they're going to think that I'm crazy or something. But so I didn't. But I was trying to get hold of their office so I can send them all the information.
But the real issue,
Yes,
isn't
Your Honor.
it, that you understand that your lease is ended,
Yes, Your Honor.
right? You understand that you're going to have to move.
Yes, Your Honor.
The real issue is when.
Your Honor, to be honest, I got married on July, so most of my stuff has been out. However, my son has got weekly doctor's visits. And even today, right after your hearing, he has to go to the doctor after this. And so weekly visits to the doctors because he had ruptured intestines too. I'm sorry.
Okay,
So
I understand that.
I understand what your question is.
Yes, I do.
I guess the best possibility for the situation, I would think, I guess in a perfect world would be for me to be able to move after I have my 10 weeks of recovery from surgery. That would be the best instance. That's not the case. And I would like to work out some type of agreement with Robert and get something officially set in stone if we can't get to an agreement on this.
Okay, but here's my question.
Okay.
Rent has been paid through October, right? Is that, no?
September.
September.
September. And they didn't accept it October.
Well, okay, ma'am, I heard
Sorry.
you.
I apologize.
So how much is monthly rent?
Holdover rent is 2 times 1180, so that's 2360 times. The holdover rent is 2 times the lease amount. The lease amount is 1180.
Thank you.
Holdover rent is 2360. There's 2 months of that.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I understand, but had we negotiated an extension, there would have been a rental increase anyway. So my point is that even 1180, if someone thinks that a landlord can be forced to have a lease extend past the negotiated agreed upon date for the benefit of the tenant, it should not also be that someone thinks that you should impose a 2-year-old rental rate for that same holdover period.
Well, I think it's that rate because we've been there for about 10 years.
11
sir.
years, Your Honor.
Okay, but here's the thing,
That's my point,
folks,
sir.
so that you
Mine too.
just understand. Ultimately, the decision I could make is that you got to be out. You just got to go. Just give them a judgment. You got to go in 10 days. Right?
That's 100% true. You could, yes.
So the problem with that, though, is that you have surgery coming up. You've got a recovery time
Yes, sir.
somehow or another to move out, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if I were to give additional time
Yes.
The problem is that the landlord should not be out. So that, meaning that they need to be paid for that period of time. They need to be paid a fair amount for that period of time. Whether you gave the check or not, it still has to be caught up.
Yes.
And so right as I sit here right now, I've got October and November,
Yes, sir.
right? And that rental rate's gonna have to be adjusted. I understand the holdover rental rate, but if I were to say that at least a fair rental rate, even now would be around $1,600. That means that there would need to be 3,200 paid to cover October and November.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand the math, I guess. Because of the increase in the rent that or is that the holdover?
No. Here's what you have to understand.
Okay.
You're a holdover tenant.
Okay.
So if I said anything beyond the 10 days that quite frankly they're entitled to, if I use my what are called equitable powers to try to do something in the middle so that you can stay there during your recovery period,
Okay.
then technically, and I think it would be the landlord's position, they're entitled to the holdover rent, which would be about $2,360 per month.
Understood. Okay.
What I'm saying is, okay, if we don't do that, what would be a fair rental amount? What Mr. Fink pointed out is the 1180 or about 1200 from 2 years ago isn't fair. And he's right.
It's about 1270 now.
No, it's, no,
Folks, can
Yes,
I
sir.
just, Ram, what else do you want to say?
Your Honor, the rent is 1180, so about
That's our rate right now.
right now. When I spoke with Robert, he said, "Are you paying 1180 or 1280?" And so the pamphlet shows 1280, but he said it's going to go up to 1305. And I said, "Okay, but
You're a holdover tenant.
Okay."
Yes, sir. I get it.
Okay?
Okay.
So let me ask you this. If I said you can stay through December 31st, but in order to do that, give me 2360 times 3.
2360 times 3.
Hang on.
6,900.
7,080.
Say be what?
7,080.
So here are really going to be the choices. If I say that you can at least stay, I don't think I can say to them you can get to stay through for the whole 10-week period. Somehow or another, you're going to have to figure out something else. I get the recovery period. Pardon?
I said it wouldn't make sense to try to stay till like December or something like that. I mean, mid-December if I'm not doing the whole 10-week because you're still moving in the middle of it. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're still what?
You'd still be moving in the middle of recovery if you gave me like a month and a half or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and of course it depends on the surgery, but there's going to be more delicate parts of that recovery period,
Absolutely.
which are usually at the beginning,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm looking at is I'm trying to find that period. I'm not medical, so I don't know for sure.
For sure.
But I'm trying to find something in the context of this thing that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if I were to say through December 31st, the landlord, because you're a holdover, would get the 7,080. Do you have that?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So then I said, all right, here's what's going to be the fair rent in the court's mind of about 1,600.
We still can't afford that, sir. We're barely making it by with what we have right now.
Okay. So then here's the problem.
Yes, sir.
Your lease ended.
Yes, sir.
If I were, as I said, using my equitable powers to say under your circumstances you could stay,
Yes, sir.
you can't stay for free.
Understood. I definitely understand that.
Me too. I agree.
So right now, as we sit here right now, you can't pay the October and November rent, can you?
Yeah, I think so.
The 1180 a piece,
Well,
but not double, like you said.
right. So let me ask it a different way. Can you pay 3,200?
16 October. I would have to really search. Your Honor, I own Social Security right now, so I would have to.
Pardon?
That. I'm on Social Security, Your Honor, and I am basically meeting my ends meeting. I would have to talk to also Robert and come with an agreement with Robert, the manager of the apartment. Seem to get along pretty okay. It sounds like the manager and I do.
That what?
I would have to come to speak with the manager if he can.
Ma'am, guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass this case briefly. I'm gonna let them set up my last block.
Okay.
Here are your options, because I'm making a decision on this today.
Yes, sir.
All right? And I think I've given you what the options are. None of them are easy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes, John.
And they can be a bit more difficult. I don't think, in fairness to the landlord, I can have you stay past December 31st.
No, I totally
I agree
understand
with
that.
that.
Okay.
I agree with
I-
that.
So, but the problem is, even to get that extra time, because right now, if I give them a judgment, that date would be the 18th that you have to leave, the 18th of this month.
November.
You have surgery on the what, 22nd?
4 days later.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find a balance
Right.
in that. You can't have it both ways.
Of course.
You're going to have to make the hard call as to what you're going to do. If there's a place, can I just say this? If there's a place that you can go,
I have to figure that out.
okay, but, okay.
I understand.
But you have to, I let everybody tell me what they think. So you have to tell me what you're gonna do, but it's gonna be in the universe that I just defined.
I think if we can figure out to be out by the end of the month, I think that would be
We
reasonable.
want to talk
The
about.
end of November?
Yes, sir.
Let me talk about it. Yes, Your Honor.
What?
Yes, sir. The end of November.
So you want me to give them a judgment, or you have to be out at the end of November?
Yes, sir. Because if not gonna be able to afford 1,600 every month from that point forward, and I'm not gonna be able to stay there for the 10-week rest period. So I would try to get everything out before.
You're gonna try to do the surgery, try to get everything out before, but
Yes.
then make sure that you've got
That
that
I'm
period
good.
of time afterwards. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do.
Surgery in the
Just
Sorry.
I'm gonna issue judgment for possession after hearing this matter to the plaintiff for possession. There's no redemption amount with the writ to issue, well, court's closed, so the writ would issue December 2nd.
Second.
Yes.
So if they don't move out before the first.
Correct. You understand that, folks?
very well. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Is that no tribal issue, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
That means if I had a trial, there's nothing really for me to decide. Probably the best way to put it. All right, so folks, you understand that, what this means? I'm gonna grant them a judgment. Gotta be out by the first.
Set in stone.
All right. 1st of December. All right.
Are we all set, Your Honor?
Okay, I've signed the judgment. If you want a copy of it, you can pick up a copy up front. Thank you.
Can I sign to that? Where do I sign it at?
You don't need to sign.
Okay.
I signed off. I've got.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You do the same.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What? What is going on today? This is a joke. Today is absolutely an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself sometimes.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Reed, we're gonna start bringing people in for learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it? Okay.
Come and go, so let this feeling grow. I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.